Good afternoon for those of you in the States. Good morning on the people in the Australian thing, and good evening to all you European folks. I am JT Norimaki, and with me today is Trenter TR. Say hi, Trenter.
Hello, everyone. Hope you have a nice, good day after you or in front of you, because right now we are heading into the finals of this tournament.
Yeah, a concept that was really kind of discussed by the Shantae community at the end of last year, kind of really conceptualized and birthed out in January, put together in February, and started in the middle of March. And here we are at the end of the road. So it's been a long, fun journey and a lot of great community binding to get to this point. And very excited to see this matchup of Tky619, aka Turkey, versus Mijati, the Battle of the UK.
Yeah, indeed. Both of our runners actually are from the Great Britain, and now we need to know who will reign supreme in the UK.
Yeah, it's a bit of a battle there, and Mijati, definitely having been a relatively newer runner to this game, has just risen through the ranks very quickly. He's currently vying for that coveted sub-50 mark that only just 3 runners have achieved at this point. One of them during the course of this tournament has gotten his PB down there, Cake Sauce, who just took 3rd place in our bronze match yesterday by beating out 17 Bird, who currently is their 2nd person on the board. TKY is our world record holder. Mijati, I believe, is in 4th on the boards at this point, so really trying to get that extra push and one run that all comes together and make that sub 51 goal a reality for him. So I expect this to be extremely good race. Mijati has kind of helped develop the route a little bit in the time. I mean, we knew going in that things were not optimized, and a lot of minds came together and really kind of changed things during the course of this tournament, Mijati being one of them that kind of fathered what we've now kind of all picked up, or at least a good chunk of the runners have picked up, as a 2-shop route, where this used to be consistently 3 based on TKY's routing. So a little bit of change here. TKY, I believe, even kind of likes the 2-shop route as well. You know, there's a bit of RNG that goes in the front. There is a way to still force it to happen if you want to spend a few seconds. So I'll be curious to see, you know, if TKY will stick to a 2-shop route going into this, or not. Where Mijati, I'm pretty sure we know will definitely go with his 2-shop. So
yeah, it will be interesting. We can have some quite route divergent, and RNG is also a factor in these runs to adapt on your route. So it will be very interesting what our runners get and how they adapt to the run.
Yes, indeed. And again, you know, this being the finals, we are best 2 of 3. So the winner of this tournament has to win 2 matches in order to move forward and claim the coveted prize, which was a perler that was made by Moni Vida, who is currently in chat. She made a very beautiful perler of kind of swimsuit Shantae, which is the way forward's reward generally at the end of the games for beating the game in a speedrunner fashion, you know, doing it much faster than... Well, I wouldn't say much faster. I think the times are pretty generous, even on a casual perspective. But, you know, it's beautifully done by her, and she will be providing that to our winner today. So they're vying for a little bit of prize, as well as kind of the bragging rights in the community. And I know both these runners are extremely nervous about this. Neither one has been looking forward to facing each other. They both know who they're up against, and I think that, you know, they'll still kind of bear down the focus, and they will get what needs to be done.
Yeah, indeed. It will be a sweet reward after this whole tournament of these... How many weeks are we in now? 8?
Yeah, this is week 8. This is the end of it right here after everything started. So, again, long road getting here. It's been great having the community come together and really make this such a wonderful event. And of course, we can't thank Speed Gaming and Feasel enough for all that they've done to bring Shantae and the Paris Curse to the forefront and give us the screen time as we've kind of plugged through this. In fact, they've streamed every race with the exception of one because of Easter holiday. So we've gotten a lot of exposure from them. Thank you so much again, Feasel and Speed Gaming, for everything that you guys have done and make this reality for us. And we've been extremely grateful and just, I don't know, I can't really say much more on that.
Yeah, it's very grateful. I'm very grateful from a runner's perspective. I'm not doing a lot of commentary, but honestly, this tournament is a lot of fun. We had a lot of exposure, which was very great. And this is an awesome chat we have here. It's an awesome chat on Speed Gaming. And we have two awesome runners ready to go. What do you guys think? Should we let them off? Should we start the race?
I believe we'll get started here as soon as we're able to. And yes, Spleen, just as the chat, I'm just confirming what the chat says. This is a best of 3 finals match between Tky619 and Mijati. Two very, very good runners. TKY being world record holder, Mijati currently in 4th, but very close to bopping a couple of people. There's some high contention going on within the top ranks of this game right now, at least in this category. So I hope everyone is indeed ret to go, as I'm seeing in chat there, which is a common theme throughout the Shantae series. Just one of those little interesting bits of dialogue that we don't get to see, unfortunately, because we skip a lot of dialogue in these games, but we know it's there. And Shantae may actually shout it out for us at some point here. So I believe that the runners are pretty much ready, and we'll be getting started shortly. So get hype, everyone. This is the finals. This is it. This is the one for all the money, for all the glory and all the fame. So we'll be getting going very shortly, guys. Just hang tight.
We are all ready to go. These runners are... and we should be heading off right about 5 seconds.
Yeah, no countdowns needed. It'll start when it starts. So
true.
And those, again, who are not familiar with this game, I'll just kind of tee it off really quick, as I'm sure this will start while I do it. But Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, 3rd game in the Shantae series. In this particular one, Shantae does not have her magic powers, is not able to transform. But we're going to be doing this game in a New Game Plus format called Pirate Mode, which gives us access to all of Risky's pirate gear right out of the gate. And we are definitely underway, so Shantae wakes up to find the town under attack. Sky and Bolo quickly provide her with a couple of items, knowing, again, she doesn't have her magic, that she will find useful throughout here. And we'll probably see a little bit of divergence here as the runners kind of have a different preference on how they want to deal with this. These soldiers have the potential of dropping a couple of useful items, and that's honestly what you would want to see from them. But certain runners will only hit certain guards where others will hit more. Both getting rewarded with a pike ball from the Great Guard, and Mijati barely saving a very detrimental fall right on the first screen there, at the end of the first screen, or second screen. Somehow clutched it out with the cannon there, so... again, these cannon shots, the hat, the sprinting, all of this is the New Game Plus kicking in, where you've got all of Risky's gear, which allows these moves by Shantae to be done.
Yeah, as Turkey's now going to our favorite waiting section, where we actually sometimes activate the pike ball to save like 1 second to go a bit faster down, and then actually... The thing how items work in this game, most buffs are on for roughly 1 minute. So we have roughly enough time to get to our first boss, Ammo Baron, who is in a huge tank trying to shoot us. Or run us up.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Turkey's getting the worst thing possible, getting a charge right out front. Fortunately, didn't get much. There's a bit of RNG going on here, so Ammo Baron has a couple of different things he can do. He can charge at you, and he can do that up to 4 times in a single cycle. He also shoots these cannon shots, and what we're looking for is that red cannonball, which you see the runners knocking back into the tank to dislodge the Ammo Baron down so we can actually deal some damage to him. Both getting some moderate RNG here, nothing too spectacular. We got about a 2-second difference as both runners get okay-ish RNG, and not too bad. They both went with the pike ball strat, so it'll be interesting to see if they do get... Well, they both got the extra pike ball already, so they're kind of covered for something a little bit later in the run. So that would definitely secure their knowledge in having done the pike ball strat for that, which is a little bit more a way of guaranteeing that you'll get the 3-cycle Ammo Baron rather than potentially running into a 4.
Yeah. As we now progress through the story, finding out we actually attacked the mayor of Scattletown. Yes, this guy in the tank was actually the mayor, running over the city to build his new state over there. Because, yeah, in the last game, canon-wise, we actually sold this whole place.
Yeah, we did, and even though it was for money in the story, we find out in this one it was actually for a box of waxy chocolates. So Mayor Scuttlebutt, obviously very easily swayed by the lures of food, gave the town over pretty cheaply when it came down to it in the end.
I wouldn't say so cheaply. Come on, I want one of these chocolates as well, and they are so expensive.
Oh god, but waxy chocolates? I don't know. I don't know that anyone would want a waxy piece of chocolate. Anyway, both runners are now taking down this cackle bat. So Risky has caught us in that tub that Shantae didn't own, but didn't realize it until it was too late, and brings us here to accuse us of having stolen her men and her weapons. Well, we have her weapons, so we can't really dispute that, but her men we didn't necessarily, but there was this bat captured in Uncle Mimic's workshop there, and that dark magic turned it into a cackle bat. We had to take it down really quick. Now, those cackle bats are a plot device. You can use them for getting a better ending. We will not be doing that in this run. That bat that they killed will be the only one that they kill in the any % route, and we'll get an ending. I won't say it's a good ending, but it's an ending. Based on this. And really quick after we've done that, we have to do a little bit of sidetracking here. That library card we picked up from Sky, as well as saving at that save guy, are both mandatory. This red guard would not let you exit town without those two things done. So a little bit of safety by way forward, just, you know, hey, we're going to introduce you to the save system. This guy can do that for you, and then once you've got the library card in tow, you'll be on your way.
Exactly, and as we all run through this scarecrow field, actually Mijati got his spike ball, which is very, very fortunate. He will probably save some money with this.
It's possible. I mean, with that super pike ball drop, which is one of the rarer of the two that really want to be seen by the runners going through those scarecrows, you have the potential of changing up a few things. So we'll see what Mijati does on his first official one here, is both take a visit to the sewers. And the pogo strat on the snakes in that tight space is on purpose, because the lingering hitbox of that snake can be hit up to 3 times with the scimitar down stab there, and every time you hit that hitbox, you get the RNG roll for a flesh pop. They need 3 in order to move forward here. It looks like both runners got their necessary fare for Bolo, so fortunately nobody getting trolled with bad snake RNG there, and able to just progress things on. We'll get that key from Bolo really quick, and then we're going to go visit our pal Squid Baron over here, very sad in the corner. But that brochure will brighten his day up as we send him off to a nice vacation, and I hope he enjoys, because he's feeling a little depressed, you know, worried about being that mid-boss status as he tends to be in these games.
Yeah, this poor guy. We give him like a trip to a beach section. I don't know exactly where. Something around Lane and 10, I have no idea. As we are going on into the palace, going for the library, because we got the library card, of course. We actually wanted to read books. Oh, actually we wanted to look at the globus, because we need a map.
Oh, yeah.
We need to ship sail. Sail ship, whatever.
Yeah, we want to go on a cruise, and we need a map to know where we're going here. As we're getting near sync here, TKY making up a little bit of ground during that segment. We've got basically near sync going on here. Both runners also opting to use this spike ball. And the reason for that is because they want a little bit of extra money potential from these orcs, and TKY got stiff there. You can't just kill the orcs with a charge. You've got to have that pike ball in play in order to deal just enough damage with the charge to be able to actually take him out with this run back. So, unfortunate circumstances for Turkey here is he's going to be about 5 gems short of going to the 2 shop route, so we'll probably see him adjust to a 3. And,
but he got at least a fast entrance.
Yeah, he did get the fast entry there, so he's going to pull ahead just a little bit because of the shortened animation time of Shantae walking into that door. We're going to watch really quickly. Alright, so Mijati, with that super pike ball drop, opted not to buy a super pike ball. He buys his 4 flares, which is very standard for that. So he's got a nice gem buffer moving forward in this. And if RNG kind of jolts him a little bit, he'll have that extra bit of cash just to buy some additional items. TKY ended up having to do kind of the more traditional 3 pike balls on
3
that.
flares, 1
Or
pike
3
ball.
flares, I mean. And I didn't see... I'm sure he did. Yeah, he also had to have bought the super pike ball. He needed both of those runners needing that super pike ball for a boss coming up here on our second island. But first, we got Saliva. You want to talk about Saliva there, Trent?
Oh, yes. It's a weird name for an island, actually, but yeah, sure. Actually, we only traversing that. There are some crabs, there are some mermaids who are actually kinda attacking us for unknown reason. Maybe they don't like us. Anyway, we are going on. We find these 2 girls. They are ready to camp, but there's no water in the pool. So no whirlpool. Oh. But at least they have some ham that we can whip for some stink. And
Yep, and thanks to that stink, we're going to be able to wake up this Gigalumix. Now, Mijati, what he just did is actually made up a little bit of ground on TKY and is actually going to pull ahead there. TKY tried to do the same thing. So, 2 things just happened there. One, obviously the pausing strats was on purpose, and that's to skip a blinking animation that occurs for whatever reason. If we pause and unpause the game 3 times, it skips that Gigalumix opening its eyeballs before it actually starts drooling. Mijati took that 1 extra step further by getting a relatively frame-perfect thing where Shantae's momentum carries for about an extra pixel or 2 as you trigger a dialogue, and he fell off that ledge, and that actually saved the time of the ham stink going to the Gigalumix's nostrils. So he actually is going to take the lead here, another lead change very early on, just for that little bit of extra precision done by him there. So well played on that one. Extremely well done there. As the Petrify spell that we picked up for doing everything there, it still works as intended. It petrifies, it doesn't unpetrify. Much to the chagrin of the old man there, who now is rejoined with his fiancée, but maybe not in the way he intended.
Well, petrifying is a thing, right? It's very clear. Petrifies.
Yeah, I don't question it. It's video games, right?
Yeah, indeed.
Alright, so both runners have now entered our first Den of Evil. This particular place here, that we're going to take a slight detour, and way forward put in this little Easter egg, which is a throwback to the original dungeon. I believe it's called
Drizzle Fountain.
Drizzle Fountain, thank you for keeping me honest there. Drizzle Fountain. So the reason they're in here, for one, is gems. The second reason they're in here is keys. One interesting fact about this game, the keys are not bound to the dungeons you pick them up in, so they're basically farming up these additional keys to be used later in the run to save a significant amount of time. And the amount of time it takes to go through here is much shorter than getting the keys in the actual dungeon. Mijati using some of his extra food drops to do an animation slip, saving about 2 to 3 seconds every time he does that. So collection animations are kind of long and drawn out, but if you collect an item and at the same frame that you're collecting that item be able to use a consumable like food or a potion, you'll actually override the collection animation with the consuming animation, which is significantly shorter, and every time that you can do that does save you a good couple of seconds.
Indeed, indeed. I'm actually surprised that he got 5. All
right, so both runners are now just kind of navigating the rest of this again. The pirate gear kind of trivializing a lot of what the intended route here is. Looking for extra drops. Mijati was hoping for maybe like an early bubble shield from one of those crab guys. Didn't seem to get it. And both are now in this first gauntlet room. Neither one landing a monster mount. So we're going to get pretty standard fare here of just taking out these 2 as quickly as possible. And you're probably wondering, why are they using the scimitar rather than the cannon when the cannon is doing 5? Well, the scimitar actually hits both of the sprites when they're overlaid, while the cannon would only hit 1. So a little bit faster to do those pogo strats because you're hitting both of the monsters instead of 1 at a time there. But then once you get that 1 down, you can just cannon the other one down really quickly, both doing really well and coming up to this Den of Evil's boss, the Cyclops plant.
Speaking of pogo strats, we are actually using our pogo strats like we used them in the sewers on this boss to quick kill phase 1. And apparently Turkey had some minor issues in the beginning, but barely recovering very fast. And in the second phase, we tried to do the same, and kill the
Getting
psychopath.
just a little bit cleaner on the second phase there. Again, using that pincer between the ceiling and the monster's hitbox with the scimitar. The monsters don't have like iframes when they damage, so you can get as much damage out as possible. So well fought by TKY, who actually was kind of gotten tied up again with that miss on the first phase, but they both kind of evened up, but TKY was just a little bit better in that particular one. So extremely good fights from both. You know, it's this really good pace for both of them, pretty standard from what we're used to seeing from both of these runners, usually knocking that boss out around the 13-minute marker. So both runners probably not too disappointed in regards to how they're doing at this point.
Yeah, we hope so. At least now we're going to the next island, Spiderweb Island.
The island that we got for beating that. We'll now be heading over there right away without any sidetracking, and this is kind of a dark and dank place. A lot of lightning going on, a little bit of rain. There's a lot of undead things happening here too. You see a lot of zombies happening. There's some hands sometimes that reach out of the ground, not really here, but that'll be a bit later. But the vertical rooms are the biggest parts that the runners kind of dread. These ghosts can be quite the troll. Neither runner getting trolled by these ghosts, fortunately, in this first one, but we've got one more room of them to deal with. And again, having this pirate gear up front, we're going to go ahead and just grab this item called the Fossil. Normally, you would come back here for this as a later part of the fetch quest, but having access to it now, we're going to go ahead and grab that and have it in our pockets for future use. And oh joy, Trent, it's time for Run Run Roddy Talks.
Oh baby, the best thing in the game. By far. Me as a runner only have to say the best thing ever that happened. Basically, it's the auto-scroller variant of this game, but it isn't auto-scroller without some punishment, right? So every screen, you have certain enemies that are here, and if you get hit by any one of them, you are out. You have to restart the screen. Technically, we can't game over on this because we don't have health, but everything is one-hit kill.
Yeah, as both runners demonstrated there with Gatekeeper not letting him through initially.
Yeah, that's very rude of him. Well, basically, some of these screens can be very, very long, and we don't want them to die at the end of these Super Mario Bros. 3 spikes, or these droppers, or hands, or Stevens.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that this particular segment throws at you, and you know, it's time loss every time you take a death. You're sent back as punishment to the beginning of the room for taking any hits here. And these two rooms with the Super Mario Bros. 3 style pillars, as Trent pointed out, this is probably the most auto-scrolly part because these things run on the timer. Nothing you can do to get around them or anything. And these runners are going to be looking to do all that they can to try to speed this up. You know, you probably saw some tongue skips from both the runners. I think I saw Mijati struggling a little bit getting some, but taking it safe and not trying to force the issue. But these particular rooms with these spikes, you can't do anything about. They're just kind of there, and you have to wait for them to do their thing before you can progress forward.
Yeah, these tongue droppers actually are somewhat unique because their hitbox doesn't load the moment the tongue goes down, just the moment the tongue is at the bottom, then the hitbox loads. So at that small time fraction, you have time to drop down or get around that, so you don't get hit immediately, as we walk over the fake graves.
Yeah, and Turkey just throwing a little bit of extra swag, doing what we call the stake jump, so he's validated his run from our perspective. Just a little bit of a meme in the community, you know, from the long-time runners, that you have to do that particular one. Those hands hitboxes don't spawn immediately either, so you can just do a really quick jump into that pit. Oh, Mijati beating the wrong end of one of those kissy robots. Unfortunate, just a little bit of platforming there. He kind of missed it and landed right on top of that thing's head.
Yeah, he just wanted some love, apparently.
Yeah, he wanted to give them what they've been hunting for all this time, just a little hug and a kiss. And, you know, it's not a huge time loss. It was the first one that could have been much worse. This is probably the longest room time-wise in this particular segment, just because it's so long and winding. It's not particularly dangerous, but if you do miss a platform, these guys are relentless. They're right on your tail, and if you do make one mistake, you're likely to take that hit. Fortunately, again, for Mijati, it wasn't super bad because it was the first one. But it's still time loss regardless, so TKY is going to get just a little bit of a lead extension here based on that.
Yeah, as he is walking through the Stevens room, as Mijati's entering the Stevens room. These white things, we call them Stevens, thanks Cabbage. And basically they shooting mini Stevens to be such a great pain for us and make this section way better than it used to be.
Mijati getting lucky. The gates of hell were open for him where they were closed for Turkey, so he'll gain a little bit more ground back after having taken that early death in the first room with the kissing robot. So well played to him on that. There's a little bit of RNG that goes along with that, although it seems like most runners, if they're doing everything to perfection up to that point, usually find those gates closed, and Mijati kind of taking favor of probably that earlier mistake, changing the cycles just enough for him to get right through there. Turkey is now free of the running top section, this last room being the most challenging, and Mijati is now navigating the last part. You can take a death there, it's costly, costs about a good 35 seconds or so, so neither runner dying in that last room, escaping run tops, and Turkey with about a 19-minute even on that. Really good time. Ideally, you'd want to be sub 19 here if possible, but won't complain about getting that considering they didn't have the monster milk for the first boss.
Indeed, indeed. Now we drop off Roddy Tops and go on to Poe and help him out with his wagon. He repairing the wheels, we provide the oil to make the wheels turn, and in the end we have a very good shortcut to skip run tops. I'm so sad we didn't have that earlier.
Yeah, it would have been really nice here, but we're going to get the shriveled thing status check from TKY. Looks like it smells like it always smells. Mijati will be getting his status check on the shriveled thing here very shortly. I bet it smells too. Gee, how did I know?
Pure luck.
Yeah. Alright, so they're going to be entering our next Den of Evil, Cackle Tower. This is our second dungeon officially here. And we'll be entering this particular place. There's going to be a couple of things that'll happen here. You're going to see these runners going through, using the risky charge basically to their advantage. They're going to hit as many of these skeletons as they deem fit, trying to get us some drops there. Is TKY on the good side of a super pipe ball drop there. So really good to see, and I believe he still has his pipe ball from earlier, so he's already set up for this divergence to go grab one extra key that we're going to be using later in the run as well. By going into this gauntlet room here and facing off the Batgirl and having this pipe ball at his disposal. If he remembers, I don't think he remembers that he has it.
He actually hasn't. He used it.
Oh, he used it on the orcs actually, so he doesn't have one. Still really well fought. You want to have that pipe ball because it guarantees kind of a 3 cycle with her, but he was still able to really take that Batgirl out without the use of it and getting rewarded with the super monster milk. Both runners actually. Which is the ideal drop that both runners are looking for here. So the divergence worked out. You get the extra key. You get the kind of the extra item that you're looking for there. So well done on the RNG side right now for both runners at this particular point.
Yeah, we actually grab another key now because there's a door coming up and we don't want to use our safe keys. So we're actually grabbing a new one. And the safe keys, you will soon see where we need them.
Yeah, Cake, I agree with you. The RNG for both these runners has been pretty much right on par with each other. There's no big disparity, no big advantage for either one. I believe, as you pointed out, Mijati got himself a super pike ball as well during the course of his kind of skeleton gauntlet. So both runners are both in a good position here. They've got decent items. I mean, obviously, we'll see how Tanline Temple, the next place that we come up, or the Tanline area, does. That's where the majority of the RNG really kind of determines how the rest of your run will go. But again, both runners very on par in regards to the items available, as TKY is starting his fight with the Empress Spider and doing a phenomenal job of it. The idea here, in order to get the quick kill, is to try to stay up in the air with the spider and let that super pike ball do its thing. Mijati will be demonstrating it as well, and it's just well-timed jumps, and then the big important mechanic is whipping just at the right time, which Mijati's having a little bit of struggle with here. He's dropped out of that hitbox a couple of times, But you want to get stun locked in air with a well-timed whip, and it recharges Shantae's jump and cannon shots, so that you can just let that super pike ball go to work. But both runners having a pretty decent fight. TKY did it to perfection. Mijati not too far behind, but did lose a little bit of time there. But the most important factor, neither runner lost their auto potion. It's a very dangerous strat, and you could tend to lose that little bit of safety or potential skip item later, depending on the runner's preference. And neither runner losing that auto potion, so well fought for both of them there.
Indeed, indeed. The spider is down. Now we're sailing to 10-line island. Oh, I think we sent Squid Baron here. Can it be?
Yeah, I believe this is where we sent him. As TKY starts his charge to the cacti there, and he's greeted initially with a bubble shield. So he's going to be very happy to see that. That's one of the probably the most necessary items for this run. It's needed for the final boss, just because the final boss can one-shot you, but this bubble shield actually negates that attack. And Mijati also getting one, and he's rewarded with a monster milk. So RNG playing just a little bit of extra favorites on Mijati there, giving him that monster milk. So he'll be very happy to see that. It might give him some different thoughts in regards to his gem routing and what he's planning on shopping here. But we did run into Squid Baron. He didn't look too happy, Trent.
Yeah. Have you checked the calendar? It's off season.
Oh, darn, yeah, we didn't pay attention to that. It is the off-season. The only thing floating around this island, rather than fun having co-eds, instead we get ourselves scorp gals and old folk, and he's not too happy about that. So he hands us those glasses over. I'm not sure what we'll do with a set of x-ray glasses, but I'm sure we'll find a use for him here. And now it's a little bit of fetch quest time. You're going to see a slight route divergence here. Again, TKY, because he didn't get enough jumps at the start to initiate the true shop route, now has to go here first and grab this mummy sketch where Mijati has returned to Scuttletown to view this cutscene. By the way, pay your respects to Joe, who just fell prey to Sky's father.
Yeah, it's a sad story in this game. We actually see our friend Sky has a boyfriend, Joe. This mustache, oh my god, he looks so beautiful, and then her dad comes along, setting up this sarcophagus and be like, here, read this. Poor guy, poor guy.
And poor Sky is relegated back to bachelorette status, and none too happy for it, unfortunately, as it's alluded to that this happens quite frequently. So apparently it's not the first time that Sky has lost a boyfriend to the hands of her father. Apparently he doesn't want her dating anyone, or at least doesn't approve too well. Any rate, they're both going to be finishing up. We'll get divergence once we get back to 10-line island. Looks like TKY has maintained his lead going through that particular one. He'll begin his second charge back through these cacti monsters to see if he can get something. He gets an extra bubble shield, which is useful for the next to last boss of the game. Not necessarily mandatory, but certainly a very useful item for that fight as well. And doing a skeleton charge, I believe I saw at least 2 super pike balls. There could have been a third one in there.
I only saw
Mijati.
Wow.
Yeah. Ooh, Mijati only getting 1 regular pike ball. That's really... Oh my goodness, and TKY getting another super pike ball on the way out. I think he's good for the run on super pikes.
It looks like it. He only needs some more milk and he's ready to go. As Mijati actually getting a super pike ball himself. So
yeah, finally getting one. Those skeletons were really sparse for him, though. They didn't drop him very much in both charges, so he's probably less happy about that because, at least getting a pike ball is better than nothing. You can still make those useful, although they're not the greatest item. But not getting many, that may force his hand into purchasing some. We're going to have to see what he does as both runners are going to be going into 10-line Temple here. There's some potential for some extra gems, and we'll see what happens. But you want to talk about 10-line there, Trent?
Yeah, my favorite section by far. Basically, you enter this temple trying to talk with them, and they are basically saying, hey, you're a lost princess, we capture you so you don't escape anymore. At the same time, they actually take everything what you have on you, away from you, and basically putting you in the cell, and you're trying to escape Metal Gear Shantae style. Well, these guards are actually huge pain, because, hey, if they see you, they don't reset you on the same screen, they reset you to the cell. And depending on where you get caught, this can be a huge time loss.
Yeah, both runners so far getting through here. As I anticipated, Mijati's going to opt to go ahead and grab these 60 gems above this key. So he knows that he's going to need a little bit of extra help from a shot perspective. RNG has forsaken him. TKY going for that last room there actually didn't go full one cycle there. He kind of took it safe on that last guard, which can be the most painful. You do lose close to about a minute of time loss if you get captured there. And Mijati, okay, he actually took it safe, but a little bit more risky by doing that jump. But while you're in the shadows, you can't be detected. And that jump actually gets you out of their line of sight. They actually have a direct line of sight. And for whatever reason, jumping will get you out of it. So a little bit of a safety measure by pausing there and waiting for that. But, you know, also risky in a way, because if you did that wrong timing, he would have been captured, and that would have been the most painful one to get. But now we're demonstrating all those keys that we farmed up earlier in the run. This is where they're put to good use. Finding the necessary keys to open these doors and free our friends who have also been captured and mistaken for the princess. It takes some time to go around this particular place and get those keys, but coming in here with a full pocket of them, we're just able to unlock their cells, free them, and then as we work together as a team to pull that rope and open the door, we are now presented with the real princess, who's been gone to the store for a whole whopping 30 minutes. And I'm not going to say much about that.
That's a lot of time, honestly.
A complete eternity, the long lost 30 minutes of time, which I guess if you're watching the clock, sure, that can feel like a long time. But yeah, these guys apparently run into this situation a lot, and as apologies, they give us this golden pickaxe, which for a pliable piece of metal certainly clears ruins very, very quickly. And both runners will take the opening sound of this after this cutscene. Do a quick inventory check. It's a free menu time because you don't pause the game while that tone plays, and you're able to kind of take a peek and see where you're at, take inventory, take stock, kind of plan and determine what you're going to do for the rest of the run here. Although there's a little bit more of RNG that they're going to bank on here as they're both making their way into the Lost Catacombs at this point. Again, TKY just a good 30, 40 seconds ahead, it feels like.
Kinda. Oh, he's not Turkey's not opting for the others.
No, I mean, he doesn't really have a need to. He's gotten some decent drops from the game up to this point. And the extra Scorp Gal, although tantalizing, isn't the most reliable source of drops. So rather than lose time by going that way, because it is a little bit slower, he's just going to go ahead and deal with the two in the Scotland room, hope for something, but getting blanked out. He got one monster milk from the purple block room. Mijati also getting the same, and we'll see how the gauntlet room treats Mijati as TKY setting up for the one cycle crusher. Looks like he got it. He did. It's an extremely precise timing trick to get through there without having to duck into one of those alcoves. Mijati seeing some drops here. Super Pike Ball and a gem, so Scorpgal's not being a good source today.
Not really, not really. As Turkey is now going on to Squid Baron, the guy we actually sent off vacation because he doesn't want to be a mid-boss anymore.
Yeah.
Well, now he's our mid-boss. Who would have guessed?
Yeah, he's accepted his fate as mid-boss, and he plans on being the best mid-boss ever. The problem with him, he's scripted. So he's not too difficult, and depending on what buffs you're going for, it looks like both runners have opted to go pretty ham. I believe TKY only went with a regular monster milk in this regard, where Mijati's going to go full bore, super monster milk, super pike ball, and you want to beat this guy at specific points in this particular run. TKY demonstrating very well exactly what happens when you do things on script. After you take out the second charge. If you take him out during or right after the second charge, he'll go into an eating phase and allow you to wail on him. And even though he's healing, you can out DPS that. Mijati, going with the stronger buffs, is actually going for the little bit of advanced strip. So he's going to gain a little bit of time here because of the fact that the Super Monster Dog Super Pikeball combo will melt his HP so much faster. Wisely hovering when he went into his armor, knowing that he was going to do one more dash before he went into the eating phase. Took that out magnificently well. Makes up a few seconds, a few vital seconds here to catch a little bit of ground up on TKY.
Yeah, exactly. As we now get our death mask from Polo, but first he needs some kind of fossil and some kind of X-ray specs. Weird, we have this.
Yeah.
We found them somewhere.
Well, definitely picked up that fossil back when we first got to Spiderweb Island. The X-ray specs we got from Squid Baron when we first ran into him at Tanline Temple. Both those items allowed Bolo to become extremely smart. And you'll see a divergence here. You didn't see TKY go into the shop here. You will see Mijati do that. Mijati is going to go ahead and purchase everything he needs for the rest of the run, or he feels he needs for the rest of the run. TKY is short milks, so he's in the 3 shopping route, so he still has one more shop that he needs to do. He's going to have to buy a couple more flares, and he's probably going to be looking to get some gems throughout this next segment to get whatever he needs from a buffs perspective. So I'd expect to see a little bit of gem farming from him at this point, just enough to buy probably a good couple of milks. He may be a little underpowered, or feels that he might be a little underpowered for the remaining bosses, and he wants to make sure that he's going to be covered there.
Yeah, as you know, saw, this is how a speedrunner does this whole island in a speedway. If you ever played this game casually, you know what this island does to you. It's just not plain happy about you being here.
No, it becomes a big mess, and as a casual player, you probably got mobbed really bad, and although the damage output isn't all that increased here, it's the amount of hits you take because you get mobbed that really becomes a thing. But once you enter this next segment that TKY is going to do, the Village of Lost Souls, the damage does ramp up significantly. Most of the monsters in here will do a full heart, which is 4 hit points. You'll notice both runners are running with only 2 hearts in this run. So they have 8 hit points to deal with, and any misstep here could really cost you something. And again, they still have their auto potion. They don't want to lose that. It's a good safety net here. And this ghost room can be one of those times where you can really get trolled, as TKY demonstrated a ghost just always underneath him. He wasn't able to just jet all the way down to the bottom, and actually took a little bit of a hit there. The ghost being the least damaging monster, but again, they mob you, so it can rack up on you very quickly if things get out of control.
Yeah, oh baby, we're actually collecting coins. You know what time it is, right?
Oh yeah, it's time. Yeah, it's time for the most skillful game. I mean, this is all skill coming up here very shortly for both these runners. It's really how fast can you menu, and you know, always pick heads and have the gamers actually cooperate with that. Oh wait, no, I guess that's that skill. That's RNG.
Are you sure? I mean,
pretty sure.
At this. Look at this. Hats, and...
He got it! Oh, perfect gamers from TKY. RNG smiles upon the turkey, giving him heads. So we purposely pick heads because menuing is slow, and you just have to hope. And again, it is literally RNG 50-50 on whether you get heads or tails from these guys. So getting the heads is the most optimal thing that you can see. There is a kind of a fail-safe in place. Way4 did do that. If you happen to lose the game 3 times on your 4th go-through, you will get a win no matter what you pick. But these gamers can eat up a lot of time if they decide to be real trolls about it in the RNG front. So Turkey also landing another super pike ball that he didn't want to see. I don't think he needs that one, but still kind of a rare drop from that Reaper. He normally wouldn't hit that, but he did, and got rewarded for it.
And the gamers being gamers.
Yeah, as Mijati's kind of demonstrating, you'll see the failsafe on his end. He's getting, at least it was only at the blue gamer. That's probably one of the better things you'll see, because you're only going to be doing about 6 menus, or 5 or 6 menus overall in that regard, rather than the 3 optimally. So it's not terrible in that regard for that. So it could have gone a lot worse. But yeah, he's going to lose a little bit of ground there because of the favorable RNG that TK619 got.
Oh yes, nothing is more painful than the red gamer saying tails.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of runners have actually kind of adopted, if they got heads from the first 2, they might actually think about menuing to tails, just because is Turkey accidentally using his lobster tail there, trying to menu into the next boss fight, which I didn't get a lot of time to explain. The risky shuffle that we use throughout this run, where you can charge up the full charge in a small space, breaks this dungeon wide open. The intended thing is to get these elevators lined up in the central room that Mijati will be coming up here shortly to, and being able to charge across and break through that block. But the risky shuffle allows us to completely circumvent the intended path and the methodology of this dungeon, and quickly just get to the boss, as TKY is currently dealing with Dagron, and doing so with just a super monster, or super pike ball, no monster milk, but doing a phenomenal job with that. A little bit of time lost because of the no buff, at least on his attack power, but handling that fight extremely well.
Yeah, indeed. That was a very clean fight. But
yeah, if there's a boss late game you don't want to take, or you want to take as a milkless one, it's this one, because he's not that bad. He's got very easy cycles. You can knock him down to the ground. The super pike ball definitely helps deal out that damage. So, the lack of milks didn't really hurt him that much there.
Indeed. Actually, with our pirate gear, he gets very easy. But don't be like, he's easy. He can be a very huge pain. It can easily be an auto potion, or even worse if you are not careful about this boss.
Yeah, Mijati going regular monster milk, super pike ball, having a little bit of time save on Turkey there because of the fact that he had that additional buff on him. So again, doing the fight extremely well, keeping Dagron corralled and not letting him get loose, where he could easily hit you 2 times without even before you even realize it. So both runners having a really good fight given the resources that they leveraged. And again, Mijati making up just a smidge of ground there because again he had that extra buff that TKY did not.
Yeah.
Indeed. We go to Frostbite Islands. We're going from hot to cold, and we are now basically using all our pirate equipment to traverse through these very huge, lonely island with some wolves who have a very great drop table, have a very bad drop chance, and do a lot of damage.
Yeah, these wolves are the most dangerous thing, and the other thing to add to it is these slopes actually have ice physics to them. If you're not in the risky charge, you will slide back down any slope you touch. And these wolves do 6 points of damage. That's a heart and a half for those keeping track at home. And you definitely don't want to have a misstep here, because you're likely to eat that wolf to the face. And it's very painful, and you could run into a situation of either losing your auto potion or dying, depending on your inventory status. But the pirate gear does help trivialize a lot of this. You can see how the hat and the cannon working together just helps you traverse these long horizontal screens. It feels beautiful to just float over everything and jump and recharge and just keep flying and moving without even taking a moment to stop and think about it. So you'll get to see that again in Propeller Town that Turkey's in now too. As we get above the snowstorm, we find this floating island here with a lot of spikes and things. And again, the hat and the cannon combined just makes this a lot of fun from a platforming perspective, as the level is designed in such a way to take a casual runner in perspective as well as a New Game Plus runner, and still make it a lot of fun to get through these particular ones.
He didn't set up the Q glitch where he actually removes the safety net to make this run even more interesting. No, he's going for the normal strats here.
Yeah, it looks like both runners are too, and I don't blame them. I mean, this is the finals match. Anything can still happen on the next 2 bosses, so having that safety net in place is probably more preferential at this point.
Well, as we now go through the whole Propeller Town and find our old good friend. What is he doing here?
He's working for the bad guys by the look of it.
Oh, great. Why does he do that again?
Oh, because those glasses made him super smart, and because of that, it was apparently all that was needed for the Techno Baron to hire on Bolo as their new electronics guy, making targeting modules for cannons. We're actually asked to pick that up for Mr. Ammo Baron, the mayor of town, and as we retrieve that, we'll be flaring out of here and doing one quick revisit. We have that unidentified soul that we got at the end after Daegron of the Village of Lost Souls. We need to get that identified, and who knows more about the dead than the dead. So we got to go visit Roddy Tops and her brother Abner really quick just to find out what's up with this soul here.
Oh. Wait, didn't we kill him?
Well, Sky's dad did, for sure, but you cannot mistake that funky fresh mustache.
Yeah, that cute mustache. Sadly, I can't grow that.
Yeah, neither can I, so don't feel too bad, you know. Facial hair is not something I do somewhat well, but not to that extent, so... at any rate, we're going to move on forward, so TKY's got one last little bit of sidetracking here to do before we can progress things forward. Looks like he's going to take a time to hit these scarecrows. I'm thinking he's trying to fish out one more monster milk, which it's a very, very rare drop. I mean, it's wonderful when it happens, but the chances of it dropping are extremely low, but definitely worth the risk. It's minimal time loss to hit them. In the meantime, I think he's going to go after these orcs for just a few extra gems, hopefully, and getting kind of blanked there, too. So he might be hurting for one of the last two bosses here from a buff's perspective.
Oh, he didn't got his favorite trick. Will he readjust?
He didn't get his favorite trick either with Branson there, or as we call him, legally distinct He-Man. So he'll be very disappointed. His run now is questionable at best.
Oh god. Don't let him hear that. He is very sad about that. Believe me.
Maybe he'll get redemption in round 2 here. We'll see. But we got Mijati now currently going over. He's opting not to go after these scarecrows. He's very happy with his inventory. Who could blame him? He's had some decent amounts, plus his shopping route and the money he had. He was able to buy everything that he really wanted or able to need for the remainder of the run based on RNG. So we'll see if he gets Turkey's favorite trick. Nope. We have a double miss on the Buster, I'm afraid.
Well, at least that's the thing both need to improve on in the next race.
Yeah. We definitely need a little bit more Buster action going on here. So Turkey, again, is going to have to dip into the shop here. This is just kind of mandatory based on a 3-shop route. He did buy a Super Monster Milk, so definitely needed that for, you know, his boss routing here. As Mijati is just finishing up that fetch quest, so that Spirit of Joe, we give it back to him and revive him. Sky is very happy until Joe decides, you know what, I've had plenty of time to think, plenty of fish in the sea, and I'm out of here. Breaking up with our best friend immediately and rejoining the Ammo Baron to help. And we delivered the targeting module, which Bolo programmed, by the way. That's totally going to hit the palace, or not. No, that
the right palace, the wrong place.
Yeah, it was hitting the right palace with the wrong place, and we send Mr. Techno Baron off to the 4th game of the series, Half Genie Hero. But opening our next to last Den of Evil, the Abandoned Factory, as TKY is now currently traversing, and we'll be going to get 3 keys needed to be able to reach the boss. Again, we're going to skip a good chunk of this dungeon because the fact that Pirate Gear allows us to do this. Normally we'd be picking up the cannon here, but because we have it up front, we're able to get a couple of very easy keys that we would normally have to get later by going around and around in this place. So very quickly, and the only thing he's got to worry about is a very trolly ice block here. But both runners using animation skips with potions usually takes that cycle out of play and doesn't have to worry about it too much, as TKY breaks that dungeon wide open and goes into our favorite boss, RNG the boss, Steel Maggot.
Oh, RNG the boss. You see these 3 red, huge buttons on his back? That's basically the RNG pattern we have to figure out. The thing about figuring out, we don't know what the right combination is, as Turkey gets it and sees the weak point.
Going for that fast cycle, you almost have to be dead perfect to get it 1 cycle there, but he dealt a significant amount of damage by using that pincer in the corner there. So he's going to have an easy second phase and no problem for TKY. It was actually a really good fight. Like, the codes didn't bother him. Plus, that extra bubble he got helped him to ignore that spray shot if he got any of the buttons wrong. So those spray shots do 1 heart of damage, 4 points of damage, so that'd be half your health gone in 1 hit. Mijati does not have that luxury, so we'll see how he fares with that as he misses. Oh, and this is a really bad situation for Mijati. Fortunately, having that extra potion, though, and wisely healing, so he doesn't lose his auto for later.
Yeah, why does these flying things actually do 4 damage?
Yeah, it's like the most powerful projectile here, but having a lot of trouble. Fortunately, wisely remembering he's got the pistol and not allowing the steel maggot to completely get away and losing out on a little bit of DPS opportunity, but he didn't quite get the damage out in that first phase. We might be looking at a 3-round here, but getting a good position here, and with full buffs, he could squeeze it out. Okay, nice. Ooh. So he did keep it down to a 2-cycle. That was very, very close. And again, wisely using that pistol just to make sure that the maggot didn't get away, because once you hit him, he'll actually stop in his tracks.
So what items does Turkey have left? Like
we're gonna have to take a peek at that. I mean, he used his super monster milk on the steel maggot, which is really preferred because the thing has such a huge HP pool. You really want to melt that down, and I think he still has his other super monster milk in the Batgirl drop, so he might at least have that. He definitely has a bubble for that, and we'll be going to face our final boss, the Pirate Master here, just trying to avoid getting a heart sweat of shame. He does.
Aww.
Going for the up and over. Hits 1 skeleton, but that's still okay. I mean, he gets over there, and because he didn't build up his attack power going through that charge through the fields, up and over is just a little bit quicker. It's a little bit more precise platforming-wise, but you save time than trying to run through the stone blocks, which have respawned from the beginning of the game and our initial charge through that particular area. As he begins the climb, speaking of precise platforming, the intended path here is you're supposed to go in these doors and deal with some extremely difficult and annoying platforming segments, but the hat, giving us a 1 or 2 pixel boost every time we deploy it, when done properly, allows us, with the cannon fired at the kind of the highest point, allows us to skip all of that. So anybody who's played this game casually and dealt with those Pirate Master trials is probably like, oh my god, you could do that? Yes, you totally can. And it's considered no out of bounds because we don't do any out of bounds trickery. We're just using the gear that's given to us to allow us to just get right up that tower.
Indeed. Yeah. Do you see his pace?
Yeah, he's on an extremely good pace. This is going to be probably about a mid-50, which is only about 10 seconds off his world record time of 50-20, as long as he handles his fight well. So this is an insane pace by TKY, as per usual. He's been very consistent in this tournament, putting up generally 50-51 times, and he's going all out here, using that auto potion to his advantage.
Wow.
Taking down the Pirate Master with a 50-25, actually. The official SRL time, 50-27, as he got done a couple of seconds later, but that run was only 5 seconds off of his world record time.
That's impressive for a final match. Wow.
Yeah, for a tournament race, almost getting a tie of his world record time, that is absolutely insane. So, 3-shop route, 2-shop route, there's not a huge difference from time perspective, if managed properly. And TKY putting on just a little bit of a clinic there. That was an extremely good run. And we'll be taking our round 1 here, and we'll immediately be diving into round 2. These runners have scheduled all 3 of the races necessary to crown our champion here in one go, so we won't have any sort of delay or anything. Probably allow the runners a couple of minutes to kind of recover, kind of wipe the slate clean memory-wise in regards to the items. Mijati is taking this fight very underpowered. Ended up a super pike ball short, but still managing it with the super monster milk. So really good fight from Mijati as well, ending in second place with a 51-35 official SRL time. So GG to both runners on this particular one. TKY, though, not pulling any punches today, coming right out of the gate, and look at that in-game time.
Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive.
Yeah, very, very impressive run by TKY, and Mijati pulling a 51, mid 51 is nothing to sneeze at. So, it's about kind of the script of things. They're about 30 seconds apart PB wise, maybe 40 seconds apart. Well, no, about 50 seconds apart PB wise, and this race was about a minute apart. So, kind of holding true to script, but Mijati can still easily climb out of this. I mean, with the right RNG and everything falling into place where maybe TKY gets shorted on some things, you can see this wing very quickly. So I wouldn't count Mijati out quite yet, as obviously he's in a little bit of a hole. He's got to kind of win 2 in a row here, where TKY only needs 1 more to claim that throne. But anything can still happen.
Indeed, everything can. You saw that Turkey in the end got actually some of the luck he needed. It was great. Now think what can happen if both of them don't get very, very good luck. Like if we have worse luck than this or even better luck than this, it's basically some kind of RNG and sometimes some parts of luck to just see who can adapt better. The thing is, the basic thing is, everything can happen, and Turkey could go for an auto potion jump in the end and blow it. He could, he shouldn't. We don't hope.
Yeah, the auto potion jump though is an extremely scary thing because, as you mentioned, it is one of those things. You remove that safety net. You don't have that, as an advantage to fall back on. And it only saves just a handful of seconds overall. I mean, it feels like it's a 10-second time save, but you factor in the diversion to take damage, the menuing that's required to not only select the potion, but then reselect the Pirate Flare, probably cuts that 10-second time save in half. So it's a big risk for a very small reward, and especially in a finals race. I wouldn't be surprised to see neither runner go for that particular trick as we saw in the first race. I probably wouldn't expect to see it again just because they know who they're up against. And definitely want to just keep the consistency going rather than maybe bank on, just trying to get saved just that little extra bit amount of time.
Indeed.
But hey, I want to ask your thoughts here. What do you think of that first race overall? I mean, from both runners.
Great performance. Very great performance from both of them. They're both close to their. We're both close to their PBs actually, and who knows? Maybe we can get something out of them. Maybe we get a new PB from Mijati. Maybe even a very, very good sub 51, or we can maybe startle that bird over there and maybe get something lower than 50-20. Who knows? The only thing who can decide that are them, not we. We are only watching in awe.
Yeah, indeed. It's always fun to watch these two guys go at it. I mean, I've been watching Mijati, and he's really focused on that sub 51 grind. He just needs everything to fall into place. And obviously the runners have a lot of say in regards to the time that they get, because the execution on the bosses is really what matters. But at that, adding that extra layer of RNG falling into place, certainly RNG has a little bit of a say in regards to what kind of time you can get. If you execute well on the bosses, but all you've got in your inventory is just a bunch of pike balls, like regular pike balls, you're not going to save a lot of time there. It's unfortunate, but it happens. I had a phenomenal run not too long ago where I only had regular pike balls and I got a low 53 for it with perfect execution on bosses. So RNG certainly has a bit of a say and can sway this run in any direction for either runner. So what we'd like to probably see here is Mijati getting just a little bit better RNG. Anything again can happen, and both runners will deal with what they need to do it. They're both very professional, very good at what they do, and we'll make their adjustments accordingly. So I expect an extremely close race again between these two runners, and only being about a minute apart in the first race is not a bad thing when you consider how long this run is at right around that 50-minute mark.
Yeah, exactly. How well both of them perform. Yeah. Basically, it's top tier time we're talking about here. I personally don't even go under 54, 53 constantly. And Nori, you 53, 52-ish, right?
I am mid 52s right now. I am on my grind to get a sub 52, and I know 90% of my problem is boss execution. So I've had RNG fall in place, but again, I just can't, I can't really stress the importance of executing on these bosses and really taking them down as quickly as possible. It just matters so much in regards to your final time here. So, obviously RNG is a beautiful thing, but there's so many mitigation strategies with gem grinding that you can get with gems en route that you can just completely kind of negate the RNG. It does cost a little bit of time, but it's not as detrimental as just messing up a cycle on Dagon or Steel Maggot. And if you can keep those under control, you can get yourself a good time even with that RNG.
Indeed, indeed. You can have a good time with this game without good drops, but, well, RNG's RNG. We never know what's happened.
Exactly. Well, Turkey almost getting a world record time in this race by using the more traditional 3 shopping route. It just speaks to how well he knows this game and how practiced he is in doing it. So, you're seeing 3 years of work on TKY's side just coming to full head here in these finals. Mijati, relatively newer to the game, is no slouch, though. He's done a lot of work in this game, has improved very, very quickly. And again, I wouldn't count him out yet. Mijati could definitely sneak out a good couple of wins here if TKY just slips up at any given point throughout the run.
Personally, I hope he gets it because I want to see a 3rd race.
I would too. I mean, these are the finals. You want to see go right down to the wire and go to that 3rd race. You definitely want to see that.
Indeed, indeed. But I don't want to curse the turkey because, yeah, he doesn't like me when I curse him. So I try to be nice to him, at least for now.
You guys are really good friends. I mean, we all hang out, in the Discord and whatnot. So I know you guys are really, really good friends, and I know that you don't wish ill of anyone, even though you curse the birds a lot. It's still a really tight friendship, and again, I can't stress how well the community has come together, and I hope that a lot of friendships have been formed, by everyone that's participated in this tournament. And I'm just really happy and proud of the community as a whole for everything that they've done to make this a success that it has been.
Hey, you have a fair share on this tournament as well. You actually, Mister, you did everything of this. You had a lot of talk in this, so we have to thank you for this.
Well, it was a pleasure putting it all together. I mean, the community was really fiending for something like this where, we could compete, and actually really did spur that competitive nature. And I'm just happy to see all the improvement come across the board for all the people, old runners, new runners, everyone really kind of coming together, discussing routing strategies and strats and kind of sharing and coming up with new ideas that have only further optimized this game. I mean, we thought it was relatively optimized a while ago, and TKY kind of showed us it wasn't, but new thoughts, new methodologies came into play with the wide diverse amount of runners and people that came involved, and it's really been a community effort to make the run what it is today. And I feel that there's still opportunity to further optimize, so we probably haven't seen this run in its final form yet.
No, this is not even the final form, and we are kind of ready to go.
Yeah, it looks like our runners have had a chance to decompress from that first run, wipe the memories clean of all the items so that they can keep better track of what they're going to get in this one. And we'll be starting here very, very shortly, it looks like, for our 2nd race of this best of 3. So those of you just joining, this is the grand finals of the Shantae the Pirate's Curse any % pirate no out of bounds tournament with Tky619 versus Mijati, Battle of UK. Both UK runners and both very, very good at this game and have definitely earned their spot to be vowing for the championship here. So again, TKY just took the first round with an extremely solid run and just now looking to clean up here and take the second one. Mijati looking to get a win here and force round 3. So we'll see how this goes as it looks like we are now underway.
Yeah, indeed. We are starting, and first of all, we get our equipment again, our favorite auto potion and the pike ball. And now we will see how RNG will treat them.
Yeah, both runners will be taking a slightly different approach here. Mijati tends to hit a few extra guards where TKY is only aiming for the gray-suited ones. The gray-suited ones have the better chance of dropping items, which is why he kind of opts for those, but any of these soldiers have the ability of dropping items. And so we got some very perfect sync going on here. But Mijati taking just a couple of extra pauses, hitting a couple of these extra guards here, but extremely tight, and actually Mijati navigating that vertical shaft very, very well and pulling ahead just a little bit right out of the gate.
Yeah, let's hope this race continues like this the whole time.
Well, we had, a good number of lead changes at the beginning of the last race, just based on different things that occur, throughout this particular one, minor movement things, a little bit of RNG. So, early on, we probably expect to see a lot of the same here. To just kind of point out really quick, that jump over Sky and Bolo there is to actually avoid a dialogue trigger. Normally, you'd run into them and they'd pull you into a bit of a conversation. Mijati netting an extra pike ball right at the end where TKY didn't get anything. So, slight edge for Mijati right out of the gate there. He'll have that for use on either the orcs, or if he wants to save it for even later, he'll have it for a gauntlet room. And getting some really good RNG out of Ammo Baron here. TKY did get a charge, but then is immediately rewarded with really quick red ball here as well. So no big gaps here. Mijati's going to take a very low 2, though. That was an extremely good pattern that he got from Ammo Baron to get a low 2.
It was only the second best cycle Mijati actually got from it. So that's some time save. Only
near perfect Ammo Baron gets him an 8-second lead. So here we go.
And the party is on. Race. I mean race.
The race, not the party. The party will be after the racetrack.
Right.
Yes, Ilias, this is indeed the finals, the best of 3 match between Tky619 and Mijati. TKY took the first run with a phenomenal run, almost matching his world record time. So TKY's got the edge 1-0, but again, got to win 2. So welcome and enjoy, and anyone else who's coming in to watch, this is again our finals match. The tournament will be over after this one, and bragging rights will be crowned and handed over to our winner.
Exactly. Do the same as Shantae does, and take a bath, make it comfy, and maybe check the bathtub before you.
Yeah, you might want to check that bathtub, or you might want to remember that you don't actually own one. That might be important first, but...
Well, come on, we steal her equipment. Kinda.
True. At any rate, so taking on this Cacklebat again, these guys are a bit of a plot device in regards to getting the good ending. We're only going to be killing this one because it's mandatory. Beyond that, all future Cacklebats will be ignored. So we're going for the any % ending here and not going for the good ending. So we will be skipping all of those. And really quick before we leave town, just a couple of mandatory house cleaning items. Got to pick up this library card from our good friend Sky. We just want to go read a book. We're under house arrest, but we want to have something to read while we're under house arrest. And Sky, not believing that Shantae can actually read a book, definitely wants to see this and is more than happy to help kind of give Shantae a chance of getting out of town, even though Shantae looks nothing like her. And this guard makes point of that, saying, wow, the camera doesn't just add pounds, it actually makes you blonde and completely different looking. But we'll start our charge through the Scarecrow Fields here. Again, a normal pike ball, not the ideal drop you want to see from these Scarecrows on Mijati's side. We'll see if Turkey gets anything as Mijati gets through that part. Another regular pike ball for TKY as well. So again, not the most favorable drop. It certainly has its use, but not what these runners were looking for.
Actually, I have a question. Did we ever see a pirate flare from these orcs in the whole tournament?
I don't recall ever seeing a pirate flare drop. I mean, it's obviously the most rare of the drops that the orcs can do.
Except
I don't recall that in all of the races that we've had to this point, I don't think a single one has ever dropped.
I don't know, like, I drop them regularly.
Oh, TKY just got snake RNG'd. He only got one of the flesh pops, and again, they've got a really good chance of getting that. It's a 50% drop rate from these snakes, and the scimitar strat in that very tight space allows you to hit that hitbox 3 times. So you're getting 50% rolls on that. He got 1 out of the 2 snakes. So yeah, very unfortunate RNG.
That's 50% for you. If you flip a coin 5 times, still can land 4 times on tail.
Mm-hmm. So that'll put TKY a little bit behind here, just because he had to go into that extra room and kind of flesh out the rest of the flesh pops that he needed to get the boa. You need 3 before you can move on, so that the little zombie kids there don't get to chew his fat, basically, as the story says, and get the key from him. So Mijati's going to get a nice little cushion here right out of the gate, just because of that RNG on TKY's side.
Oh, let's see what he's doing. He's not using the pike ball, or is he?
He might use it before he leaves the screen.
He does.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter when you use it, because it still lines itself up perfectly when you do the screen transition. But using that pike ball helps him one-shot these orcs. But if you didn't have this pike ball in play, you would not be able to do that. He's going to get the extra gems he needs to set up for his 2-shop route. TKY is again a little short, so we're going to see what the orcs do for him here.
Hopefully they're nice.
Yeah, he wants 50, kinda. So he's got 49. That's not bad. He can get 1 from one of these scarecrows pretty easily, so we might see TKY also doing the 2-shop route here. Well, maybe he gets 1 from these scarecrows.
Yeah, scarecrow RNG. That's the thing I know. That doesn't work out very well.
Not usually, not when you're looking for money from them. He did get 1 that he needed, just barely, so he is now in the position to set up for the 2-shop route, which requires buying 4 pirate flares, 1 super pike ball. We'll see what he actually does here. He may change his mind. Nope, he's going to go traditional, so he still only bought the 3-pack of flares and the super pike ball. So he's actually going to set up for a 3-shop route, just like he did in the last run, which obviously wasn't any detriment. I don't think either route is faster than the other. I think he's going to bank on a little bit of RNG just to kind of help mitigate the amount of gems that he'll need throughout the run. But TKY sticking with the tried and true.
Yeah, indeed. It is really. Sadly, it's only faster if you get actually a drop from the orcs, but 1%, right?
Yeah, 1% drop from the orcs for the pirate flare. You can forget about that. It's never, well, I won't say never, but it's extremely rare that it happens.
Yeah, the never thing I would disagree with.
Mijati doing getting the cut again. I mean, that's an extremely precise trick, and he's nailed it 2 runs in a row. So well played to him there. He's going to get the maximum time save from that particular cutscene. Again, what's happened there is 2 things. The pauses are intentional because it skips the blinking animation of the Gigalummox before he opens his mouth and starts to drool. But falling off that ledge at the same time also skips the animation of the hamstink going up the Gigalummox's nostrils. So Mijati netting the maximum time save possible there is just going to scooch that much further ahead by a couple of extra seconds over TKY here. As TKY is now just finishing up with Twitch and Vinegar there, sitting in that pool of drool and wanting to get out of there as quickly as possible, but the extended cutscene's not going to let him go for a bit and getting his Petrify spell. You think it'll work this time, Trent? Petrify spell?
Petrify spell works every time.
Yeah, Petrify spell definitely works, but is it working as he intends?
It doesn't look like it, does it?
Nope. Afraid it's still the same result. I mean, I don't know why anyone would think casting Petrify would unpetrify somebody, but doesn't quite work that way, I'm afraid.
Maybe he isn't literate?
Well, he's kind of an old scurvy pirate of himself. I mean, he just basically escaped here with his fiancée, hoping to live a very happy life in retirement, and he's been there for quite some time. he's aged quite a bit by comparison to his chiseled beauty in the background there. So, you know, he's been waiting a while, but I think they're finally rejoined.
Indeed, indeed. Not the way he wanted, but they are rejoined. As we go into our retro dungeon, the Drizzle Fountain of Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. Basically, this is an homage on the first dungeon. Basically, on the Game Boy Color version, you have this dungeon as your first dungeon, and to pay some respect to the roots, WayForward included this as a homage, as an Easter egg, with some updated platforming and some more keys. Speaking of keys, would you explain what happens with our keys?
Yeah, so the big reason to come in here, you know, obviously there's a few extra gems that they can get that they'll need for shopping, but the most important thing are these keys that you just saw Mijati complete. TKY is just kind of cleaning up now. The keys are not bound to the dungeon you pick them up in, so if you pick up a key in a dungeon, you can actually leave that dungeon and take it to another one to be able to use it now. This game generally is kind of linear in that regard. You don't get free reign to go from island to island until you beat one and get the map for it. But using this retro dungeon here as an advantage to grab a couple of keys comes into play much later, or not much later, about half hour into the run, where those keys will be used to save a significant amount of time and avoid the intended routing that's required to get all the keys that you need. So it's a huge time save just by going in there on that little side trick by comparison to what is expected of you in this game. As neither runner, again, getting any monster milks on the way through here. We'll be doing our gauntlet room, which Mijati just finished in TKY starting, and the upcoming first boss, which I will let Tret talk about, Mr. Cyclops Plant.
Yeah, Mr. Cyclops Plant. You remember how Mijati actually killed the snakes in the sewers? Me neither. Actually, nah, I'm just kidding. We try to align ourselves again between the eye and the ceiling with our scimitar, and basically killing it very fast. And phase 1 is...
Yeah, it's a bit very quick.
Yeah, we have a phase 2, and we do the same! Because this phase 2 actually is like, it's always jumping in the same kind of vein, so we know where to stand, where to align for the ceiling, and basically getting it killed very quickly, as both demonstrated very good how quick this eye can die.
Yeah, it's both runners having extremely good fights there. I mean, at end of fight where the boss starts to explode sub 13, it's ideal. You definitely want to be at that particular one. So, you know, even though Mijati's got a little bit of a lead there, TKY is not too far behind. And both runners having a really good job with that boss, and moving forward there. They'll be collecting their spiderweb map as Mijati hits a few extra crabs, hoping for some bubble shields there, didn't get any, and accidentally kind of hits that pistol button, breaking his charge, so that'll allow TKY to make up just that little bit of extra ground as well, just by a slight little movement there, but nothing too detrimental.
Yeah, if a turkey is behind, he always starts flying, so remember that he's going fast. And he's trying to catch the other Brit. As we are speeding through Spiderweb Island, several zombies are here. Then some ghosts who are basically spawning at certain locations. We don't know which locations. And sometimes they are such in a way that they can troll you very, very, very hard. And you don't want to get catched by them at all.
Yeah, they have a tendency to knock you all the way back down to that vertical room that you're in, so definitely want to avoid contact with them if at all possible, and both runners doing a good job of that so far, as we'll be grabbing that fossil again, and Mijati has completed his trek and beginning everyone's favorite part of the run except mine. I'm not a big fan of it myself. Run Roddy Tops, this game's version of an auto-scroller, and Trent, since you took that one last time, I think I'll take this one if you don't mind.
Sure, take it away.
Alright, so as I mentioned, this is indeed a kind of a more or less auto-scroller. You'll notice that the HUD disappears, there's no gems, there's no health. It's because this is a one-hit KO scenario, but it's not a game-over scenario, so think of it as like a platforming mini-game of sorts, where you just gotta basically not get hit. Mijati challenging Gatekeeper there, demonstrating the mechanic that's going on here as Gatekeeper's being a real troll and allowing TKY to catch right back up there. Anything you touch will instantly cause Shantae to explode, and your punishment is being sent back to the beginning of the room that you took the death in. TKY getting the benefit of only getting one Gatekeeper death, where Mijati challenged him twice and lost, and getting by on the third one here. There's not a lot you can do. A lot of this is very cycle-based. Some of these monsters react when your proximity is close enough to them, and there's very minimal things these runners can do to kind of speed things up here a little bit. Those tongue skips where they drop into the pit, you know, as that tongue is dropping is one of them, as the hitbox doesn't necessarily generate until the tongue is fully down, and also swings to the right first, so approaching from the left, you can kind of sneak down there and kind of get underneath it. These pillars you can't do anything with. They're on a timer. Once you enter the room, they start, and a little bit of RNG in regards to the position, but you can do nothing about them. You just got to wait these cycles out. You can't get around them or through them in any way. So these particular two rooms that Mijati and TKY are in are probably the longest feeling because of the fact that you're doing a lot of waiting in this particular part here.
Indeed, Turkey is only one cycle behind him right now, so
yeah.
and Roddy Top's treating him nice.
Yeah, the Gatekeeper definitely kind of was the equalizer here. TKY is just hot on the heels of Mijati as we enter the fake Graves room, and yes, that is their real name. I wish I was making that up, but I'm not. You'll notice that they are jumping over specific ones. It's because we know that those are the ones that have a chance of coming alive. Whether they come alive and what direction they move once they do is a bit of RNG. So it's just better to play it safe, kind of dodge them a little bit. You can try to YOLO it, but again, these guys will punish you by just popping up at the wrong moment once you've committed, and there's not a lot you can do. So you definitely want to try to take it safe, especially in a racing format. As these runners both did a really good job of it, and they're entering the longest room in time perspective, although not all that dangerous with these kissy robots and long winding passages.
Oh, they just want to hug and kiss the Shantae.
They just want to share a little love.
Indeed. Both of them, how Shantae is carrying Roddy Tops, it's cute, so I can understand.
Yeah. And that little hop there that they were doing into those small gaps there just saves a smidge of like a few frames of time there. If you were to just run at that wall and then drop, you actually stick to it for just a little bit. So hopping in there reduces that just a smidge. So it's just minor little time saves again that you can do throughout this entire section. And both these runners very knowledgeable in what they need to do as they easily avoid the first Stevens room. And these Stevens are a lot of fun, dubbed by one of our participants in this tournament, Cabbage Game, and the name just kind of stuck. It's certainly a lot more family friendly than the name that we used to use for these guys. But these guys are a bit of RNG there, and you know, the RNG is like how high they go, as well as the direction they kind of face as they shoot these mini Stevens out. You want to avoid those at all costs, and as both runners now in the most punishing room, the final room of Run Run Ronnie Tops here.
Yeah, this is by far the longest room if you die, especially if you die very late. And it's very easy to die very late, because there are some fake graves that are notorious for pincering you and being like, yeah, no, not today.
Yeah, you've only got like a frame or two to react to that if they do, and you still have to do a short jump in there to even have a chance at it. So neither runner running into that situation, both getting out of that room extremely safe. We got an extremely close matchup. We're only a handful of seconds apart here, and both very low 19 times is nothing to shake a stick at. This is really good, considering they didn't have a Monster Milk for Cyclops plant. It's probably as good as you can get. You know, again, Gatekeeper being a little bit of a troll, but the rest of Run Run Roddy Top's no challenge for either of these runners.
Yay. Yay, we're repairing that wagon. You know what that means, right?
Yeah, I believe it's time for our Shriveled Thing status check. I'm going to price out wagers now. What do you guys think? Does it smell?
50 it does.
50 that it does smell? I think you got a safe bet there, but we'll see. Yep, Mijati is confirmed it does smell. TKY, the same. So congrats, Trent. You win 50 Kappa dollars on your very safe bet. interesting note about that little bit of text box there. It's one of the few in the game that we can't skip. It's usually reserved for like item pickups, like when you're picking up the pirate gear throughout the game, as it gives you the tutorial on how to use that piece of gear. This particular one, though, for some reason, just wants to linger there and let us know that shriveled thing definitely smells. We don't know if it's good, we don't know if it's bad, it just smells. So,
or if it smells. We just don't know it.
Yeah, or because of the fact that it is a face, it does smell. But both in Cackle Tower, Turkey getting the beneficiary of a super pipe ball drop, going to these skeletons, but I believe is in a very similar situation. Oh, never mind, that's been rectified. Getting that regular pike ball there is exactly what he wanted. You'll see why on Mijati's screen. Having this pike ball for this Batgirl just guarantees a nice 3-cycle, which is probably the best way to do it. Mijati, unfortunately, getting blanked out by the Batgirl, who doesn't drop anything, and same for TKY. Bad RNG for both runners here. They really wanted something from this Batgirl as they went in here for the key, but having that option of getting something from her is the highly alluring part of it, and both runners were denied this time.
Well, no advantage for either of them.
No, and neither runner is probably very happy about it either. I mean, that's one of our primary sources of the run for at least a super item to use, be it Pike Ball or Monster Milk, or if you're me, a Flare. But getting nothing is probably the worst thing that they want to see there, but they will move on. They're professionals. They know what they're doing in this game, and they'll be going to the floaty hat room with things that shoot fire, I believe is what the name of this room has been dubbed by Mijati himself, in fact. So I'm sure he was thinking that as he was going up there and navigating. Both runners will be just a couple of seconds apart going into our next boss, the Emperor Spider.
Yeah, do you have a flamethrower, maybe?
I'm afraid not. I'm afraid both runners are only going to use a super pipe ball here.
They're crazy. I would never go in there without a shoe or something.
That would be an awful big shoe considering the size of this spider.
Well, who knows? Well, you don't know how big Shantae in reality is, so...
Well, looking at the scale perspective on the screen, I'd say that it still would require an extremely large shoe.
Oh!
Holy cow, the sync on the boss kill. Both runners having a really good job. Using that stunning mechanic in midair. I mean, Mijati had a few dropouts, but both runners dealing out the required amount of damage necessary before losing their auto potion. And we have perfect sync on that boss kill.
Wow, that's great, honestly. Turkey made the rest of the time up, and he's now trying to pull ahead.
Yeah, we're only talking a handful of frames here between these two runners. TKY just... using that little bit more optimized movement throughout the dungeon to make up a little bit of ground that he needed to catch up here, as we're going to have to keep a very close eye on this initial charge. This is where RNG starts to really define the run, so a few things the runner's going to be looking for here as these charge through these cacti is bubble shields and monster milk drops, and I don't think either runner has gotten a bubble shield at this point, so we're going to have to keep a close eye on who gets what here. TKY netting an early bubble shield for Mijati as well. So same RNG, although slightly different monsters, but both getting the item that they both wanted to see, guaranteeing that the final boss will be a little bit of a less of a challenge, as it negates one of the major primary attacks that boss does.
Oh look, Squid Baron walking in sync apparently.
Mm-hmm.
This is fun. I really have to say, this looks so great when Squid Baron walks up the screen twice at the same time.
Yeah, there was one instance that happened during the course of this tournament where, during the Squid Baron boss fight, the Squid Baron 2.0 marquee text started on the right-hand racer's screen, and as it went off the left-hand side, carried over into the left-hand side screen. It was an amazing thing. I think somebody clipped it. So it's just funny how sometimes sync will work out in regards to how this layout is. We're going to get a route divergence here, by the way, guys. So TKY is set up for a 3-shop route, which makes him go back to Saliva Island first, where Mijati in his 2-shop route will be going to Scuttletown first. And again, pay your respects to Joe, who just fell at the hands of Sky's father. Both of them going back for kind of the similar items. They've got to go get these mummy sketches in order to kind of progress things here. So we'll see exactly, you know, how the performance of these two runners through these particular revisits will vary, and see where we're at from a syncing perspective, considering a left-hand line exactly at the same time. And we'll see where they are here just very shortly.
Ooh, look away on the right screen. You don't want to see it. It's horrifying. Oh, he died again. Oh my god. This poor guy.
Yeah, he tends to get turned to stone a lot, unfortunately, but I'm not too worried about him. I'm sure he'll be fine. You know, I mean, if anything, Sky has got one little thing for her birds, right? I mean, birds love statues.
Oh, you are cruel. We don't make a spring out of him, please.
Well, I wasn't going to say she was going to hook up a hose to Joe or anything, but birds still love statues. All right, so Mijati has gained a little bit of a lead here. As they both return, he's actually ahead now. So his performance on these revisits definitely worked out, as he got the more optimal monster milk. TKY got 2 more bubbles. That's 1 bubble that he'll never need. 1 more bubble, but it looks like he got 2 supers, where Mijati got none through that initial skeleton charge here. And TKY will use an animation skip here just to make up that little bit of ground again. And another super pike ball on the way out from TKY. I believe he got 3 through that charge. Mijati, I didn't see him get any.
Well, Birdfish Lion versus Birdfish Gator.
Yeah, Birdfish Lion versus Birdfish Gator. That's interesting with the codes.
I wonder which is faster.
Guess we'll find out shortly. Both runners will be entering that code to enter our next... It's not a Den of Evil, it's just kind of a sidetrack spot, but we have to go through here in this particular category. But it looks like Mijati will get his code entered first and begin his trek through Metal Gear Shantae. So expanding again on the story just a little bit here, we go in and we're instantly pinned as the long-lost princess of these people, and they're very happy to see us. So happy, in fact, that they have stripped us of our inventory, the majority of our clothes, donned us in some coronation gear, and then threw us in a cell so that we wouldn't disappear again. So as they're making their preparations for the coronation ceremony, we decide, nah, that's not our thing. We don't want to be a princess, and we're going to try to escape here. And this, again, is a stealth segment, so you have to watch these guards that run on cycles and make sure that you don't get in their line of sight. If you are captured or seen by one of these guards, your punishment isn't being sent back to the beginning of the room. It's being sent back to the entire beginning of the segment, so back to your cell, and you have to start all over. Mijati, unfortunate platforming error there, actually is losing his lead now because he missed that chain, but wisely didn't try to force the issue, waited out the cycles, and he's going to lose a little bit of extra ground here, grabbing these 60 gems above, so he definitely is getting set up for some purchasing. RNG has not been the kindest, so I don't fault him for that. And TKY going for the 1 cycle and getting it, so fortunately avoiding the major time loss there. It's a very risky strat, especially in a race, but nailing it just fine. And I call Mijati's a 1.5 cycle by taking that, just that little extra pause there, but doing that jump, maybe 1.25 cycle. So losing just a little bit of ground there with TKY's better performance through that particular part.
But well, he has the advantage of he can shop later, and he knows exactly what he got and knows what he can buy.
Yeah, even though he's ahead, he does have 1 extra shot planned over Mijati, which will cost him anywhere between 10 and 12 seconds. So any gap or any lead that you see here is pretty much negated just by that fact. And to reiterate again, those keys that we picked up early on in the run, this is where they're put to good work. Rather than going around this winding, very convoluted, and of course the stealth segment, there's a few other rooms that you would have stealth elements in and waiting out cycles. These keys, we just carry them into this dungeon, use them to free our friends who were also kidnapped and mistaken for the princess, who are all spitting images of that statue in the background, by the way. She's quite beautiful. Has returned home. Finally, the princess is home. Trent, she just wanted French bread.
Yeah, I know, right? It's amazing. And the next shot was what in total? 30 minutes away?
30 minutes away. So basically, when we started this run, the princess went out to the store, and we just happened to get there just as she's getting back. So what's long lost for these guys, a whopping 30 minutes, is I don't know. I again shouldn't question it. Video game logic, right?
Yeah, indeed. Ooh, Mijati's inventory doesn't look great. Ooh.
No, yeah, you get a free inventory check there. There's a tone that plays after we give that golden pickaxe over, and those guys run off screen, and you get a free opportunity to go in the menu without any time loss, and it's a good time for the runners to take stock, see what they're up against from an item perspective, and Mijati has got to be less than enthused with what he's looking at there.
And Turkey actually opting for the other key and more RNG.
Yeah, he's not happy with his items either, so he's going to take just a moment to diverge here, grab this extra key, which will save him a couple of seconds in another dungeon. Looks like Mijati's also opting for the same, so slight RNG, hope to mitigate some of the bad stuff that's happened, but I didn't see either runner get rewarded for this.
Actually, Turkey did.
Oh, did he get something? Okay, I was kind of watching Mijati to see what he was about to do. Mijati only got a 5 gem, which is the more common draw from these Scorp Gals, so Turkey at least managing to get something with that gamble. It's a little bit slower, but that extra key certainly does save back some of that time loss. And we'll see what the Gauntlet room has for him there. Super Pike Ball, so 2 Super Pikes. Milk shortage, I'd say, on Turkey's side.
Indeed. He has enough Super Pike Balls to do the whole run twice, apparently.
Well, that doesn't stop him from getting the 1 cycle Crusher room, which one of the few times in the game that Shantae's crouching animation is actually useful, where you basically count out her little wiggles there, and on 4 you're able to kind of start your risky shuffle and at the right time launch it and be able to get there. But he's going to go milkless Squid Baron, but Super Pike Ball. Shouldn't have too much trouble, but I'm going to say he's going to be a little off script here. It's really hard to get the necessary damage without at least a regular monster milk in play. Ooh! Handled it very, very well.
He was on script? Wow.
He got it on script. That's a very difficult thing to do without at least 1 milk buff. So TKY, again, showing his expertise in this game. He's going to be a little bit behind Mijati, who's got some extra buffs there. Well, actually, no, ahead. Mijati missed the cycle because he's using a regular Pike Ball. So that makes it a little bit even more challenging. He'll be off script, but still should be able to manage it. He knows exactly what Squid Baron is going to do, as TKY kind of cleans house there at the end. No problems.
But Mijati has to be a bit careful. He only has 3 health left, and 1 more hit, and that's his auto potion.
2, actually. It's only 2 points of damage from Squid Baron in any attack. And now it's 1 more hit, no, for sure. Still handling it, didn't lose his auto potion, but that fight he's probably not too happy with.
Oh, no buffs. Doesn't feel great at all.
Yeah, TKY's got. Yeah, I'm gonna point out something that was mentioned in chat there. Excuse me. TKY is a little bit of a disadvantage. I mean, the milk shortage is a problem. Some of these later bosses, because HP pools for these bosses get very, very deep, and without milk, you're gonna have a long fight ahead of you, especially when I'm thinking about Steel Maggot. So you're gonna have to hope for some RNG here, or we might likely see the scenario of TKY stopping to pick up some extra gems to mitigate the lack of milk that he's got here. It's gonna give Mijati a little bit of an edge, who's gotten some drops to really help him out, and Mijati is about ready. Did he not?
Yeah.
He forgot to go shopping, or did he even not even? Oh, he grabbed the mask.
No, he didn't. He just immediately went to Frostbite Islands.
Oh. Well, so much for time saves. Yeah, I was gonna say he should be going back for his second shop here. Forgetting to do this little sidetrack would result in some big time. If you go through the island that TKY is going through now, you get to the end of this guy will not let you pass without that mask. As TKY also pulling off momentumless boots at the save room guy. Very, very tight trick, but saves you the 2-second recharge if you happen to lose your shuffle there, which is pretty common. So a little bit of frame perfect trickery on TKY's side there.
Yeah, as I just rewatched it on the recast, Mijati actually bought 3 Pirate Flares, 3 Super Pike Balls, and 3 Monster Milk. So no
Okay,
Super Monster.
so yeah, interesting shop indeed. That's going to require 1 extra shop for him. So on the fly, he's adjusted from the 2 shop route to the 3. Again, not very happy with his inventory, so he's making the adjustment on the fly, and I don't fault him for it. I mean, you definitely want some milks for these last 3 bosses of this run, just to make things go a little bit quicker. And feeling the need that he's probably behind, and he's sensing that correctly at this point. Not sure if he's watching the recast or at least Turkey's stream or whatever, but you know, he knows where he's at, and he's got to make some adjustments here. And again, the flexibility of the run allows for this. There's some gems on route he could pick up if he needs to get 1. He's going to need 2 more flares, bare minimum here. And I'm not sure where Mijati was going there. He accidentally went to the room with the tackle bat.
I hope he's not very shocked about his early island visit.
Yeah,
Sometimes
he might be flustered a little bit.
Yeah, maybe sometimes if you go to Mudbog early, you see just how horrifying it is, and you just want to leave.
Fair enough. I mean, this is definitely a casual's nightmare place, but you know, it seems like he's just kind of gotten a little thrown off by doing that. It's thrown his routing off a little bit, made a mistake and jumped, which is not the right correct thing. You wanted to drop there, so he's losing a little bit of ground here, and he's also taking some damage, which now this puts him in a very scary spot. As the Nagas and the Reapers in this area all do 4 points of damage as 1 full heart of health. And he's got to be extremely careful if he wants to maintain his auto potion for later here.
Yeah, and Turkey...
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Turkey actually got his safety by way forward. Thank you. So his he got 4 tails, sadly. Only once heads before he go into his fail-safe state. It's not the perfect thing you can see, but at least it's not as painful as the red gamer is just laughing it in your face and be like, yeah, no, not today.
Yeah, that red gamer, such a troll when he decides, you know what, I'm going to give you tails, because again, we just kind of stick with heads, and I'm going to send you back to the blue gamer, and you can start over again. So, you know, again, that fail-safe programmed in for the game, certainly a big savior. But if these guys really want to eat your time, they certainly will.
What?
Oh my gosh, is he going tails? What, Mijati? Oh, and he gets heads. He gets heads from the red gamer, and he's expressing his displeasure. Oh wow! So he thought he beat the system by going all tails, and the game's like, "Oh, you want to play that game with us today?" No. I love it though. I love it. Good thinking.
I like his choice, but ouch, that hurt. I'm sorry for him.
Yeah, you know, again, expressing the displeasure by sabering the red gamer, which I think every runner has wanted to do to that red gamer, like, since the beginning of the time. Just a little bit of levity there. I think Mijati's just kind of taking his nerves out a little bit, and hopefully he feels a little bit less stressed after doing that. It almost worked out, though. You can't fault him. He got 2 tails in a row. But the
yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah. All right, so TKY, again, just completely ignoring this dungeon's rules, goes right to the boss, and again is going to go milkless, but has a super pike ball. So I believe this is probably a good 4 cycle if he does everything proper. Maybe 3 if he can get the damage out. He's gotten some good elevation damage on Daegron as he was leaving the screen there. He'd be very close to a 3 cycle, but it looks like it's going to be a 4. But easily having no problem with that boss is, again, as he takes more damage, he gets faster and faster, but relatively predictable. There's only a couple of things that the boss does. He comes in from left and right alternatively, but it's whether he goes long or short, stopping at that middle pillar or coming all the way out to the outer edge there. TKY managing that fight extremely well, getting a very easy 4 cycle milkless. So extremely good fight coming from TKY's side as Mijati, just on his heels, is going to be entering the Daegron fight as TKY will be heading his way out and on to his next destination.
The next destination will be after we leave the village because, hey, we can only use pirate flares outside, and this is counted as inside. Thank you for that design choice, way forward.
Well, it is inside a cave, so at least it's congruent.
Oh, true. But now we're heading over to Frostbite Island, the island of fierce wolves, very cold temperatures, and a floating island.
Yeah, Mijati just cleaning up house on Dagron there. Regular Monster Milk Super Pike Ball, easy 3 cycle for him. No problems there. TKY will begin the fun traversing of Frostbite Island, which this could be a very perilous place. Again, the runners running on the minimal health of 2 hearts that they started with here, and the ice physics of these slopes can send you back into one of these wolves that deal out 6 points of damage to 1.5 hearts. I definitely don't want to see that happen, and corners in this game are notoriously evil, and I believe Turkey will be spending some time hitting some of these wolves in the hopes of a 1% chance drop of a Super Monster Milk, because he is still running very milkless at this point.
That's not the drop he wanted to see. He has a lot of them already. He doesn't want more balls.
It's more like 1% for the Super Pike Ball and 0.5% for the Super Monster Milk.
Yeah, it feels weird. Like, the percentages are, especially with wolves and especially with drop rates, sometimes very weird. Sometimes you get the 1% drop, like, from every wolf, and sometimes you get the 50% drop chance by the snakes in the sewers. Like, never. It just feels weird sometimes.
Yeah, I think it definitely seems to vary from runner to runner, but TKY not getting what he wanted there. He did want that Monster Milk. All he got was a Super Pike Ball. Oh, and Mijati, unfortunately, just kind of bonking that corner there of that ledge, stops his charge, had to spend a couple of seconds to get it going again, so I'm starting to see some, I'm not sure if it's nerves, from his perspective, but he's also going to be trying to bank on a little bit of RNG from these wolves as well, still needing an item or two just to kind of supplement everything that he purchased, and again, making just a slight error there. Fortunately, the iframes from the risky charge, saving him from eating the 6 points of damage, but getting hounded by these bats, and having a little bit of trouble getting his charge reinstated there. To go forward. So unfortunately, with these minor mistakes coming from Mijati, just slipping that much further behind from Turkey, who's currently progressing through Pellertown and nearly done here at this point.
Indeed. Maybe Mijati actually using this opportunity. Hey, I already lost some life. Maybe he does it. The very famous Lich Jump. But first, we see Bolo actually working for the bad guys, making some kind of targeting module. Yeah, that looks very...
It looked like it was made proper.
Indeed.
Alright, so Turkey now done there. We've got some other backtracking to do in order to progress things forward from a story perspective. We did get this lost soul that needs to be identified, and who else knows about the dead than the dead? So we're going to pay a visit to our good pal Roddy Tops and her brother Abner to find out exactly who this lost soul actually is. And I think you're going to see a very, very familiar, funky, fresh mustache.
Oh, I remember that mustache.
Yeah, I think we've seen that before, but unfortunately, as far as we know, that guy is a statue. Probably a bird perch at this point, or maybe Wrench there in Sky's place. It looks like Mijati's going to go for the auto potion jump here.
And he
nails it. Nice, well done. So that jump by Mijati, it's a minor time save, about 5 to 7 seconds, depending on how well you menu things there. But that jump is a 2-frame window. Actually, Trick was kind of fathered and found by my co-commentator here, Trencher TR. Came up with the idea for it and kind of vetted it out, and it definitely works. But 2-frame window to make that jump happen after you use the auto potion, and he just nailed it like it was no problem.
Yeah, it is. It is a difficult thing, and Mijati excellently used the pike ball to basically show our pleasure to Bolo.
Yeah, I don't blame him there. I mean, he's definitely venting out some frustrations on the NPCs here. TKY getting the lineup for the Buster, so he's going to be very happy to have at least netted that one.
Oh god, look at Mijati.
No, Mijati, don't give up. He's there. I've had that happen to me too for some reason, with a pike ball in play. I thought the game crashed for that. It was a long black screen. The spawn of Poe actually goes behind the wagon for some reason. Still don't really know, but it seems like whenever you've got a pike ball out, that happens. I think he's just scared of getting bonked in the head like poor Bolo.
Yeah, can't understand him.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to stand in front of somebody wailing around a pike ball either. I'd rather not have my head caved in. So smart play by Poe, hiding behind that wagon, but still being willing enough to give her a ride.
And we just saw on Turkey screen, we attacked the palace, and we confirmed the hit.
Well, we confirmed a hit. I don't know if it was the targeted hit, but definitely a hit. Oh, I wonder if Mijati lost his timer. He hasn't dropped out of the race yet, so I wouldn't say it's a format, but he's definitely killed his timer. And I don't blame him. I mean, you get into a run like this and you're seeing those reds, and we know where his capabilities are and what he knows, and seeing perpetual red is kind of a deflator, so I can't fault him for making that. But again, he hasn't forfeited from the race, so don't worry, folks. He's not given up the ghost yet, and anything can still happen here. These last two bosses can be extremely brutal, and one slip up by TKY and just a finish by Mijati as he goes to adjust for the Buster as well. I think he knows where he's at from the race's perspective, but don't give up hope, Mijati. Anything can still happen here.
Indeed, indeed. In the practice, we have to stretch that. In the practice run, actually, Turkey had a rough time on this boss, so we don't hope.
Yeah, I've seen a few runners die on Steel Maggot. I mean, he's got the luxury of having the extra bubble shield again because he got so many, more than he'll ever need for this run. But things could still go wrong here, so
yeah.
But oh my goodness, so the RNG of this boss, apparently Turkey has the code. Just immediately getting in there for 2 buttons and getting that third one, no problem. Landing that Pitzer strat really quick. And putting on a clinic on the best way to search out that code without spending too much time. Has a real easy fight with Steel Maggot there. Easy, almost got the 1 cycle with that pincer. It's only a couple of hits away, so extremely solid fight from TKY on Steel Maggot here. So Mijati will now be making his entry into the Abandoned Factory to go have his face off with that. As TKY will be setting up for the end of the run.
Yeah, we have to see. There's still the grave. Who knows? Does Turkey does Turkey actually have an extra fire flare?
Oh, I'm sure he does. I mean, he's following the traditional route. If he did everything right, as he was heading off to legally distinct He-Man there at Scuttle Palace, probably bought the 2 that he needed. He also picked up the extra 1 from Abner, so I don't think he's missed anything there.
Nah, I mean for this.
Oh, you mean the flare from the actual Lonely Grave?
Yeah.
I don't think he's got an extra flare for that, I'm afraid. Yeah, we will not see the exponential negative amount of time gain that so many runners love to have there, aka slight loss of time by flaring off this Lonely Grave.
Come on, swag flare is a thing, and we love it.
Swag flare is indeed a thing. Mijati now starting his fight with the Steel Maggot. Little resource challenge to, well, actually he's not. He's got everything he needs for the rest of the runs, but look at it. A little trouble getting in position there, but still managing to get at least a decent amount. Again, doesn't have that luxury of the bubble, the extra bubble that Turkey did, so has to be very aware of those spread shots as he lands that pincer strike there at the end there after getting some damage in. Not quite enough to 2-cycle though, but getting very lucky on the RNG code there to get the bubbles done and exposed. So very early 3rd cycle kill for Mijati. Still well done considering no bubble to kind of flirt around with those spread shot bullets, which do 1 full heart of damage, so half of his health if he were to get hit by one. It's TKY is starting the ascension, the climb up the Pirate Master's tower. Again, skipping these Pirate Master trials, these doors on the left and right hand side. Game obviously expects you to go through these. They're pretty difficult and annoying platforming segments that just take a lot of time, and using the hat and cannon in conjunction at proper intervals allows us to just get just enough height to say, you know what, we're not doing your trials, Pirate Master. You know, it's trial enough getting a frame perfect jump up these things, but we'd rather prefer to do that than deal with those ones. And Turkey having no problems as he's running into the Pirate Master and probably on for a very low 51 pace.
Indeed, indeed. But it's not over yet.
Nope, I mean, anything goes wrong here, the Pirate Master can ace you on 2 hits. The bubble negates the one-shot kill of the spread shots that he'll be doing here after the 4th teleport. But 2 hugs with the Pirate Master would nix his auto potion, which he still has. 2 more hugs obviously would be a death, and no saves would send him all the way back to the beginning of the run. So I doubt we'll see that happen. I mean, that's a pretty edge case scenario, especially with someone's skill as TKY here. He's going to use that auto potion on purpose, taking out that Pirate Master, actually getting a high 50, so finishing with an official SRL time in first place with 50 minutes and 59 seconds is TKY claiming the championship of the Shantae and the Pirates Curse, any percent Pirate no out of bounds tournament, taking this series 2-0. So GG's to Turkey. Congratulate him. He is our tournament champion with that win. And putting up a very solid performance today. I mean, both runs sub 50. The first run only being 5 seconds off of his world record time.
Please. Not sub 50.
Sub 51. I keep saying sub 50. I don't know why. I'm not good at numbers, apparently. So, but at any rate, sub 51s, and the first one being 5 seconds off his world record pace. Extremely crazy performance by TKY today.
Indeed, indeed. That's sadly not a 3rd race, but at least let's all cheer on Mijati as he's finishing the tower climb and then going to the Pirate Master. We all want to say he finished, right, guys?
Yeah, he had a really good tower climb there. He had a little trouble doing the up and over, but handles the tower climb no problem. We'll be taking just that safety save here before the final boss. We'll see what he's up to here. He might do a little bit of swaggery. I mean, obviously knows that he's lost this particular one. He'll be taking 2nd place in the tournament overall, which is still a feat by itself. Yeah, he's going to go all out, get over that healing item in case he takes any damage. Doesn't have an auto potion, so he used that auto potion jump earlier, so he doesn't have that safety. So he's got to be kind of careful. I don't fault him for the safety save. He wants to make sure that he does complete this run one way or another.
Indeed, indeed. This fight can still be very tough if you personally, especially because of all this hugging on this platforms.
Yeah, that's a really tough thing to do, to stay up there and try to get some extra damage in. So well done by him to do that. The healing item being that extra little bit of safety, which took him back to full. He could take another hit with no problem. Finishes his run. So GG's to Mijati as well. Get your GG's in chat for both these runners as he finishes in 2nd place with 53:14 official SRL time. But well fought and well run by both of these guys. And Mijati definitely against a very difficult opponent still did a really good job today. So definitely show him your love in chat as he will be taking 2nd place here. And it looks like we have both our runners in place for a post-race interview. So if with your blessing, Trent, I will go ahead and bring them in.
Of course, let's get the 2nd place and our tournament winner in here, and let's congratulate them, say GG, and ask them about this good race.
All right, well, here they come. GG's Mijati, GG's Turkey.
Can I relax now?
GG.
I think you can, Turkey. I mean, well raced by you completely. I mean, 2 sub 51s, phenomenal pace for even a tournament race setting. So congratulations on winning our first actual tournament with the Shantae community. So congratulations to you, man. Well done.
Cheers. Yeah, I don't know what to say really. So I'm still trying to catch my breath. Not even running around in this.
Understandable. GG to both of you. GG Turkey. GG Mijati. There were there were very close races by both of you. Sadly, the RNG didn't favor you both at some times, but it was still I think it was final worthy, right, Corey?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, both of these runners are extremely good at what they do, and we got our money's worth, especially in that first race where the first entire half of that run was the two runners just right on top of each other with no real disparate RNG, putting on a phenomenal show, and both were doing really, really good runs. Mijati, I've got to ask, that second run, I'm not sure everything that went on there, but I'd like to get your thoughts on everything that kind of happened there. It seemed like it was a little bit of unfortunate stuff, but definitely would like to get your impressions on, the first race as well as the second race.
First race was bad. Second race was bad. Everything was bad. I just want to apologise to everyone. That was an awful performance from me, not worthy of the finals. Turkey, you deserved a better race. So, yeah, I'd like to apologise to everyone for that. I've not had a good week, and yeah, that's just not feeling it at all. So, yeah, sorry to everyone.
No need to apologize. I mean, you still get second place. You got in this position for a reason, and you're an extremely good runner. I'm unfortunate that maybe there were some outside factors that kind of impacted today, and I hope that they aren't anything bad. But I really appreciate everything that we got to see from you, and a lot of your contributions to the community throughout the course of this tournament.
Indeed.
Thanks.
Especially the thing you might not realize now, but we'll maybe do, and when you rewatch the race, the second race was a long time not decided at all. It was very close, and you were ahead a long time. So
it was not getting any super drops at all. That just at that point, and then just I completely messed up. I completely messed up my mind. Went to Mudbog accidentally. Just was trying to figure out what on earth I needed to buy, what on earth I could buy. In hindsight, I probably should have just got 3 super milks and just dealt with regular pike balls. But I had no idea what to buy. I had no milk, so I just did regular pike balls, and that was it at that point. And then I just completely messed up. Village of Lost Souls went up there. Just my head was not in at that point. So from there on, I was just out of it completely, and that could probably tell.
Yeah, the reset of the timer, I think, was the first big indicator, as you just wanted to get that red out of the corner of your eye, I'm sure, and I tend to do that a lot myself. So totally understandable, but congrats on finishing the race and plugging through it. Really, I don't think either runner got any real good RNG throughout the entire, 2 races. Turkey was kind of shifted you just a little bit here. You had a lot of bosses you had to deal without a milk, and want to get kind of your thoughts on how you did today, both the first run and the second run respectively, and your thoughts on how you managed what the game gave you.
Yeah, well, that first run, literally nothing I can truly complain about. Overall, went solid. Got all the super pipe balls relatively quick. I was 1 milk shy from pretty much just about be able to evade that shop. And if I had the extra milk, I'm pretty sure I would have PB'd on that particular run. It's pretty insane that I was even able to pull that kind of pace off in the tournaments, let alone the finals. The second one could be simply summed up as, get your super pipe balls here. Oh my God. Literally 4 super pipe balls left over by the time I was finished with that run.
Yeah, that one was raining super pike balls, but no milks whatsoever. So,
that was a bit of a risk on my part. I did have some kerfuffles, nothing too major, but just some minor ones here and there early doors, and knowing the ability of Mijati, it was just sort of like, right, I've got to take a gamble, and went with all potions for animation skips to pull time back and hope that I at least got 1 or 2 milks to work with. And then when I got nothing, it was like, oh, okay. I've got to gamble a little bit on Squidbone and go for the faster strats to try and beat him before his eating phase, and fortunately got away with that.
Yeah, that was an extremely impressive thing to do without a milk. I didn't think you were going to pull it off, but you did, and kept them on cycle, which was phenomenal work considering. So it just, again, further kind of testament of your time that you've put into this game, your knowledge of how to deal with these bosses in so many different configurations, and knowing what you need to do when you need to do it. And I think it just spoke volumes with your execution today.
Yeah, I mean, I was a bit concerned, having slept well all week, going into this, obviously nerves as well. It's sort of like, okay, I'm not. If I can at least run solid, I'll have a shot at least. But it could have gone either way. I mean, we've seen what Mijati's been able to do throughout this tournament, and his rapid progression going forward rightfully deserves his spot here in the finals as well. So, GG throughout that tournament, man. I'm going to miss it now. I'm going to miss this tournament now.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's been a good tournament, and yeah, I'm glad I got to the finals. Didn't think I would. Don't think I deserved to on today's performance, to be honest. But there we go. Not too worried, not too unhappy about losing, to be honest. But yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of runners that would have loved to be in that position. You got there with hard work and dedication, and did really well. So don't beat yourself up too bad. As a runner-up, you have nothing to be ashamed of in this. I mean, things just didn't quite go your way today, but you've done absolutely great, throughout the entire tournament. And again, I can't thank you enough for all your contributions throughout this. I mean, you did a lot of commentary as well to support the other runners and all the races that went through with this particular one. So, everything that you've done with this game and everything that you're doing for this game in the community is greatly appreciated. So thank you very much, Mijati. And Turkey, same for you. I mean, longtime runner. You've been grinding this game for 3 years, and it shows. And you've put a lot of work into it too. You don't fancy yourself much of a router, but you've come up with some really good ways of optimizing. Mitigation of bad RNG, and your contributions have all been enveloped by the community as well. So both of you guys have meant a lot to Shantae and everything. And I applaud both of you for everything that you have done and will continue to do, hopefully, moving forward.
Definitely.
And
Trent, I've been doing all the talking. Do you have any questions for our two racers?
Basically, nah, not really. Like huge questions. Only I want to ask Mijati. The tails try on the gamers. Was that because you were totally in a mood where you're like, this could be rough, or where you're like, nah, let's go with a different kind of RNG, and it nearly paid off as well?
It was, I've already lost this, so I might as well do something different.
It almost panned out too, but Red Gamer being Red Gamer had to throw that one troll in there, even though you were trying to troll the game. So typical Shantae and the gamers, but we got a good chuckle out of it, and it was even more amazed it almost paid off.
Yeah, I'm glad I got the auto potion jump there. Took some stupid damage to the walls just trying to get a super milk off them, and just did that terribly. And so I just go for the auto potion jump again. I lost. I didn't care if I lost it and died. But yeah, I'm just glad I managed to nail that.
Yeah, it was a good show off there. We were very impressed by that. So especially with that amount of damage, you have to wait a little bit longer to do that jump, and still being able to pull it off was very well done. So good job there. For those guys in chat, again, this was our finals, and Tky619 taking the series 2-0 and claiming the championship title. For Shantae and the Pirates Curse, 80%. Pirate No Out of Bounds is such a long title, but it has to be said that way. So congrats to them. Show your love to both of these runners. I see the command has already been dropped by Moni there, who will be providing the prize to TKY619 once he makes arrangements on that. And I guess enjoy that perler, Turkey. Congratulations.
Oh, I'm just trying to find somewhere to put it now. I mean, I've got a couple of places. It's going to be going somewhere sweet for certain.
Oh, I imagine. So you gotta send pics in the Discord once you get that and get it put where you want it.
Oh yeah.
But definitely show both these guys your love by dropping these guys a follow. Also, my co-commentator Truntrick TR another phenomenal Shantae runner, although more known for his ventures in Risky's Revenge, but does know all 4 of the games and a valued part of this community as well. So definitely make sure that you give him a follow as well.
Yeah, and don't forget our main commentator and main tournament setup provider. He basically did a lot of work in this tournament from basically runner perspective. Without him, it wouldn't have given this championship. We wouldn't have winner today. So from the runner side, I want to thank you, Nori, for setting everything up, putting the burden on you, taking the time, and making this as great as it is. And please, people, follow him as well. He's a very good runner in Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, and he's actually very good in Half Genie Hero as well. And don't mistake him. He does other games as well, but he is a very good streamer, a very good runner, and a very good person. Without him, we wouldn't have this tournament. So thank you all for that. And with that, we want to thank Speed Gaming as well, right?
Yes, definitely Speed Gaming, Fiesel, and the entire voluntary crew behind the scenes that made this tournament possible, and all the tournaments that you guys can watch across the Speed Gaming family of channels. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes as a volunteer as well. I get to see that, and you definitely need to be following. And if you can, be able to support these wonderful people and everything that they do, so they can keep bringing you these tournaments and all the content that you guys are able to watch on Twitch. So definitely, if you can, think about subscribing to at least one of the channels, donating your bits or whatever. Gives you some access to some interesting, fun stuff that happens in very tournaments. So show your love to Speed Gaming and everyone there as well. Definitely recommended. And we appreciate everything that they have done for us in making this tournament happen as well.
Yeah, I can only echo what you two have just said. I was going to get to that myself. I mean, being given this platform to be able to show what we can do within the community, and everyone that's took part in this tournament, from my end, just seeing how everyone's pulled together, improved, and has put on a great show. So I'm very grateful to everyone that's involved, and of course, Nori, to yourself, being one of the main workhorses behind getting this tournament together. So, GG to you all. GG to you all.
It was still a family and community effort. Without you guys, my contributions would have mattered. So everything you guys did as well. So I think that'll do it. I'll ask anyone here for any final thoughts before we kind of hand the reins back over to Speed Gaming.
Just congratulations, Turkey, once again. Very well deserved.
And to yourself for getting here, man. After that first run, I took one or two alternate risks just because I thought you was probably ahead. I need to pull some time back. But GG to getting here, and fair play to you, man. You progressed so much in this. It'll be a matter of time before you take WR. I reckon.
We'll see.
The war continues.
All right. Well, if no one else has anything, then I definitely will be handing the reins back over to Speed Gaming. Looks like we got a couple of Link to the Past runs going on Speed Gaming 2 and 3, respectively. I would imagine that they are probably doing randomizers for both of those. So one just starting on Speed Gaming 3, one maybe coming near the end on Speed Gaming 2. So definitely check those out. Later on this channel, we've got Mega Man 2. That'll be done there, so definitely tune in for that if that is your thing. And beyond that, then I believe we'll let Speed Gaming kind of determine where we're going from here. So appreciate everyone coming out. Thank you guys for viewing all of this tournament and being here to root on your favorite runner and being here in support of the Shantae game. So greatly appreciate all of you viewers as well. And with that, I think we will be signing off. So I've been JT Norimaki. And again, follow the runners, follow my co-commentator. If you want to, follow me as well. Take your choice. Follow everybody. There you go. That's always a good rule of thumb.
Indeed,
thank you all. And we will be signing off. Take care.
Cheers, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.